Welcome back to Reliving Retro. And if this is your first time here at Reliving Retro, we are a podcast where we play a different game every single week, and then we get together, talk about it, and rate it. And today we have a very special guest, and I'll allow him to introduce himself. Go ahead, man.
Hi, I'm Metroid Mike. You can find me on Twitter at Metroid Mike 64. I'm the guy that made Super Mario Brothers 5 and Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. I personally haven't had the chance to play it yet because I do not own that game. I have the first one for the Wii U, but I've watched videos on it, and I've seen like the articles written about you in Nintendo Life, and it's pretty amazing stuff, man. Like, it's honestly hats off. Like, I don't know how you did it. Like, that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The response to it has been crazy. So I'm thrilled and happy about how everything turned out.
Yeah, you've had a ton of downloads and stuff like that for it too, right? Like, so the reception of it's been pretty positive, right?
Yeah, it has been. I don't have the exact numbers, but looking at my Mario Maker profile and looking at the first course of the whole game, the last time I checked, it was played about 55,000 times. That's not individual players. So if you would have played it 10 times, I believe it would have counted as 10 plays.
Right.
But I do have a concrete number of about 5,000 players beating the whole thing.
Wow.
So it's constant
That's really
notifications.
solid.
Yeah, and it's you play Mario Maker for so long, you never get those notifications, and now all of a sudden, I'm seeing a side of Mario Maker I've never seen before, like the notifications and the things that are popping up.
Yep.
So it's been crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were saying it's 8 worlds, 5 levels each, so 40 levels total.
Yeah, 40 courses total, 5 courses per world, spread out over 8 worlds, like classic Mario.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that is really cool. And that is another point that it does, like I said, I haven't played it myself, so I can't say personally, but from what I've seen and what I've heard from other people, that it definitely feels like a game created by Nintendo, not like Mario Kaisos and stuff like that, where it's like all these like super extreme levels. Like, it feels like a legitimate like Nintendo game, and I think that's harder to do than to just make something really hard and almost impossible to beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was my goal from the set. I wanted to make something. I wanted to make a full blown Mario game in Mario Maker, and I thought it would have happened by now. And if it has, I missed it. Because it's very hard to find decent courses using the game. You usually have to go on social media or join some Mario Maker groups in order to pinpoint and weed out, the good courses from all these Kaizio and autoplay levels.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And you also had an interview with Game Explain, correct?
Yes, it was Andre Seegers. He was the first one that started streaming it that afternoon when I had released it. And then he wanted to do an interview the next day, and he played through it. So watching him stream it was the first time I actually watched another player play through it. And I was cringing at a lot of parts where he was getting stuck and doing things that I originally hadn't intended the player to do. But it's hard to play test your own courses and to catch everything. When you're play testing, you're usually play testing one way, and you try to do different ways, but some things you miss. So watching him made me want to go in and update some courses, which I did. 3 weeks later, I updated about 8 of those courses, since I had a lot of attention and all the eyes on my courses, and some players being like, that doesn't feel very Nintendo right there, and I may have missed some things like that. So I did go in, correct some more things to give it more natural flow.
I mean, it had to be amazing to watch somebody play what you have spent so long to create, though, right? Like,
absolutely, yeah. It was crazy. It was watching someone play it, and other people watching him play it as well. When I was watching his live stream, I wasn't able to watch with my eyes. I was listening to the audio, and I
Yeah.
can tell exactly where he was, what he was doing, just by him saying, "Oh, there was a secret there." I knew, what he was getting into. If
Yeah.
he would get stuck, I was like, "Oh, he's coming up on the piranha plant part. I hope he doesn't get stuck." So it was awesome finally watching other people play.
That was actually going to be another question I had. I wasn't sure if you like. A lot of times, the goal with these courses is to make a hard course that somebody can't pass right away. So, are you hoping that he does, like, while you're watching him, are you hoping that he does get stuck at some points, or are you hoping that he can kind of fly through the course?
No, I don't want him to get stuck at all. Like when
Yeah.
I'm watching people, I don't want him to get frustrated. But I don't want it a cakewalk either.
Right.
You do a certain balance with the gameplay. The courses in the beginning are very basic, but a little creative. And then it starts to pick up as you further deep into the game. It gets a little bit harder. Not too much. But I did throw in one course, 8-4, which was kind of brutal. It was a Magic Koopa dungeon that had a snake block, and they would shoot away at the snake block, and it would get shorter and shorter. But it was very frustrating. That was my goal because if you play through my entire game, made it to 8-4, I was
Yeah.
going to throw you this one course, but since everyone was playing it, I had a lot of players come up to me and be like, "Yo, that one course was brutal. That's the only one I didn't enjoy." So I removed that in my update. That was the main focus on the update.
Gotcha.
Instead of like fixing little parts here and there, making it easier, I just swapped out a whole new course and popped it in
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's definitely cool though. I mean, like I said, you have to be feeling pretty proud of yourself with just that accomplishment in general. I know I would be like, I feel
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
proud of myself if like I can create a level that my daughter can get through. So,
Okay.
for 5,000 players to, play through the entire game it must be very gratifying.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
it certainly is. I thought, like way back, thinking about like what if my game actually, you know, is good and
Hmm.
people start playing it and actually get some plays in Mario Maker and I move up the charts. And it happened.
Yeah.
It was pretty insane because Mario Maker is not it's tricky. You can post a good course and get like 2-3 plays on it, and uh the needle doesn't move there. But
Hmm.
um, I it was my tweet that really got the whole thing moving. I published it like the night before, but I was
Yeah.
still working on my tweet, putting gameplay clips, putting footage, describing my world. And that afternoon, I put together. I was working on an image for the title screen that I was going to originally share. Um, and I wanted to call it Super Mario 5. Like it's an old school Mario game, so I wanted to continue off after Mario World. And since
Right.
that was 4, I wanted to do the next step. And I was close to naming it Super Mario World 3 because I do have a lot of Mario World themed courses in there.
Hmm.
That's the most dominant style. But I went with 5 because I have a lot of Mario 3 and a Mario 1 in there, and I felt like calling it Mario World 3, wouldn't match. So I went with Mario 5, and I think that hit a lot of nostalgic, points over there, and
I think
people
so
being
too.
like, "Wow." And the way I marketed it in the tweet, I wanted it to read out as if you would read it on the back of a box. So if you bought this physically, in the store and you turned it around, I wanted, my tweet to basically describe the game just like it would be on the back of the box.
Yeah, and I mean, you
Awesome.
can't argue with the numbers, right? It obviously worked.
Yeah, it
That
certainly
tweet blew
worked.
up.
Yeah, and very proud. I'm very. I would have been proud of my work even if 20 people played it, which
Right.
that's what I thought was going to happen. I knew I was posting on Twitter of my progress over the years.
Hmm.
So I had a couple players, followers, friends, really, that were looking forward to it and being like, "Yo, when are you releasing this?" So this year, I wanted to release it, instead of having it like on the back burner all the time. So I focused more on getting it done, and finally got it out, because I just I try to perfect it, and I sit on courses for a while and come up with a good idea like months later and be like, yes, I can improve that part, or I can add a
Right.
pipe here and do this. So I get a lot of creativity, just sitting on the courses, and things just come to me after a while. So having that kind of mindset, it was hard to just finally let it go.
Yeah.
But there were games on the horizon that I wanted to play, and just Mario Maker all the time. I was like, no, just publish it and walk away. And
Yeah, I
uh,
saw that you put out a tweet that said for like the 1,000th month in a row or whatever it was, Mario Maker was my most played game, and it was like a little screenshot of it said that you played it on average, what was it, like 2.5 hours per day or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it's got to take a lot of time to do something like that. I mean, it's not very different from like writing a book or writing a script or something like that, where you have to go through this whole thing and you have to go back and there's edits and you have to change things. So it's honestly it's really remarkable that you're able
thanks,
to achieve that.
thanks. I appreciate that, and yeah, just really really proud of it, and wanted it to play like a Mario game, but also I added a lot of creativity in the courses, making each course kind of have a different theme from other courses.
Hmm.
So like if I was using the Mario World style, and in the Sky World theme, one course would be set around the rainbow, like Rainbow Bridge, so there was a lot of rainbows and things in there, and then another one would be Cloudscape, was just filled with clouds.
Right.
And then I had another one, Mushroom Heights, which is just the mushroom tops. So there was a lot of variety, even within the worlds. And each course focuses on one theme, be it bomb bombs, piranha plants, bloopers. But that's how I went off. And there was still some themes that I didn't touch on, like poisonous mushroom and wiggler. I wanted to make a couple of those courses, which I did, but they just didn't make the cut. So I do
Right.
have several courses that are left over that just were in the game originally, and then I pulled them out and replaced them with something more creative.
Nice.
Well, definitely looking forward to whatever it is that you end up have going on. You said you have another project going on, so
Yeah,
looking forward
I
to that.
uh, I didn't think I would get back into Mario Maker, because, like I said, I was done with it once I published this.
Yeah.
But the response, and just constantly going on Mario Maker to see the notifications and how many people are playing it. I wanted to do something in Mario Maker again, and I was like getting the urge, and I came up with an idea, something that I can do a lot quicker than 7 years. Not as broad scope like Mario 5,
Hmm.
but something shorter, something uh, fun, and I'm full blown into that. Maybe about 60% done. But
Cool.
I was planning to do 4 worlds, 20 courses, and I knew that when I would hit that mark, I would probably be like, huh, I can fit in 4 more worlds and another 20 courses. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. Now
Of
it's a
course.
full blown project. So I'm shooting perhaps for Christmas maybe to release it.
Awesome.
But it's fun going in there and returning to that. But had to make a whole new account, because I don't want to touch my Mario 5, and that's each creator can only publish one super world. So I had to create a
Oh.
whole new account. um, and it's funny because I created about 17 courses under my account, and then when
Hmm.
I realized, I was like, oh man, this is not going to work. I went in on a new account, and there were no saved courses there. So I was like, so I had to do that whole thing. It took me 6 days
Jeez.
to
Oh.
slowly put those 17 courses, from one account to the next. But I got it up and running, and I was like, okay, now I'm back, and I can, start doing that. So it'll be a separate code, a separate creator. So it's not to mess with Mario 5. It'll be a completely different thing.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Very cool.
So if you guys haven't figured it out, we played Super Mario Bros. 3 this week,
Yes.
and So, Yaiser, had you ever played this game before?
Yeah, actually, I played this one a lot, but I was like little. I was very little, so I didn't
Yeah.
remember a ton from it. But yeah, I played it quite a bit.
Yeah, and I've played this game a ton. I've played it recently. I beat it earlier this year, actually.
Oh, nice.
And I played it all the time when I was a little kid. I even beat it like when I was a little kid. And I'm assuming, Mike, you've had a ton of experience with this game, creating an entire game based off of it.
Yeah, Mario 3 was a big one. That yellow box, trying to look for it for months in the store.
Yeah.
And playing it was another level when you first played Mario 3. It really was. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back. I just wanted to stay playing it. It was amazing.
So just a couple getting to know you questions. What was your introduction to gaming? Maybe what was your first console? When did you get it? That kind of thing.
I believe it was my brother had a Commodore 64.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember like playing Hero on that. I remember all the typing prompts you had to put in to play the games.
Yeah.
I crashed it several times. I mean,
I think
I
everybody
didn't know
did.
what I was doing. But then we my parents had got NES with Gyromite and Duck Hunt. It was, I think,
Oh,
the
okay.
action set, or I don't know
Yeah,
what
so
set
you
it
got
was.
Rob the Robot, right?
Yes, I had Rob the Robot,
Oh, nice.
who didn't work. Well, he worked, but he's just,
Doesn't do anything
Not
he
really.
very well.
tried.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He tried. And then I got Super Mario Brothers. I saw that at my cousin's house for the first time when that released, and then picked that up, and that was mind blowing as well. But
Yeah.
Mario 3, yeah, I played so much of Mario 3. I played a lot last year. Going over courses and getting a feel like homework for Mario 5
Basically,
and
right?
my
Yeah.
game. I did Mario 3 and Mario World a lot, replaying them and comparing the two games.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I mean, this next question may kind of be answered for us, but I ask every guest, so I'm going to anyway. What's your favorite type of game to play? Favorite genre? Like, would it be platformers for you?
Yeah, it would definitely be Pepper. I would lean more towards Metroidvanias,
Okay.
Metroid, anything where you progress, get stronger, unlock more areas. I love that. So I would say Metroidvania. Old school RPGs like Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo,
Cool.
those are my jam. But lately I've been veering away from RPGs lately, I think, because I game late at night, and with the life is busy, kids and everything like that.
course.
So I'm falling asleep, and if I'm reading text late at night, I'm falling asleep with the controller in
Yeah.
my hand.
Yeah, forget about it.
I've been there.
Yeah.
So all that being said, what's your favorite Mario game?
Mario World.
Okay.
I'm a Mario World guy.
Same for me.
Makes sense.
I love Mario 3. But I think World is the better game. I like how it has longer courses. I love the world map, the secret exits, Yoshi. I think the cape is better than the raccoon tail.
Agreed.
So, and seeing it on the new console and the Super Nintendo, and like when it released, it was like, I felt like that with Mario 3, and then seeing Mario World, I felt like that again. It was really a breath of fresh air, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I was only 1 when Super Mario 3 came out, and then I was 2 when Super Mario World came out.
Yeah.
But I remember playing 3 definitely before I ever got World. And I
Okay.
remember thinking that World, like there was no way that like World could possibly be better than number 3. And then I played World and I was like, nah, this is better.
Yeah.
But I think I played it probably when I was around like 4 or something like that.
Wow.
But I certainly remember playing it. I remember very vividly my parents having the Super Nintendo console underneath the couch. And they kept it under there. They kept it under there instead of wrapping it up and putting it under the tree. So they hid it under the couch, and they would bring it out every night and play it. and then put it back in the box and put it under the couch, and then before Christmas they wrapped it up and put it under the tree.
That was for them. They wanted to play.
For real, they were
Yeah, of
gamers.
course.
Yeah, no joke. My parents were definitely gamers. They had an Intellivision and stuff like that before
Awesome.
I was born and stuff like that. Yeah, it's they had a ton of games, so it was definitely for them. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
I still played it. I still enjoyed it.
you got it at Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so why don't we get into story for this game? And Mario stories are usually pretty they're pretty save the princess, right? And that's pretty much it. I will, however, this is the first sighting of the Koopa Kids in this game, so that's a nice addition. And so for story for me, I guess I'll just kick it off here. Story for me, this might seem a little crazy because it's a Mario game, but I just feel like as far as NES games go and as far as Mario games go, I really think that I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh,
And that seems probably probably too high. But I gave the original one a 4. Remember, so did you, Yaiser, because of the whole
you
the
give it a 4?
toads. Yeah, because the toads are bricks.
Oh, okay.
And they get smashed apart into 1,000 pieces when Mario hits into them.
Right.
So I ended up giving it a 4. I also love the stage presence to this one as well. It starts off with the curtain opens up from Mario Brothers 3.
Mm-hmm.
Every single level that you beat is Mario running off of the stage. I really like that concept. So yeah, I gave it a 4. I don't care if everybody thinks I overgraded it. It's tough. It's Mario 3, man. How am I going to give it less than a 4?
Hey, dude, it's just your grades. It's how you feel.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't know. It's fine. What about you, Mike? What'd you give it for story?
Story, save the princess. It's cool, like the Koopa Kids, stole the magic wands from the kid and from the king and turned them into animals. But it's basically just rescue the princess, So
Yeah.
Mario games don't have much story, and that's fine. They don't need a story. I would say a 1.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with it, honestly, because Mario games really don't have a story.
And I'll just give them a 1 because I like the fact that the kids stole the wand and turned him into an animal.
Yeah,
that's cool. And
Yep.
I think there's in World 3, the Water World, the king actually looks like Mario. If you ever noticed, he has a Mario face.
Yeah, right.
And I believe it's because in there they had an island shaped like Japan, so it's kind of like Mario's the King of Japan.
Okay, that's cool.
It's something like that or along those lines, but I know there was some kind of thing towards that. And
I like when they put stuff like that in there, like the Tanuki suit. Like anybody who's in America had no idea what the Tanuki suit was, right?
I still don't.
I honestly I can't remember exactly what it is, but I do know that it is based off of like Japanese heritage, I think.
Okay. With my kids,
That's
we call it the raccoon. I don't even try saying Tanuki, but my boy knows Tanuki. He says Tanuki. Oh, Tanuki. So
yeah, Tanuki's like the statue one, right? So it's just when you just stand still. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Mario Kart 8, they call the squirrel suit Tanuki Mario. So
do they?
That's the only reason why I know that it's called Tanuki.
Oh, right, because of the
yeah, he's
what
a
game
character.
Is that Mario Kart 8?
Mario Kart 8, yeah. And when you pick him, he goes Tanuki.
Hold on, I want to look that up really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I gave story because I thought I had the first one at 3.5. So I gave this one, I bumped it down a little bit because it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't, because the first one, you gave me all that information that I didn't know about. That all the toads were turning the brakes and get smashed up and stuff. And like,
it's always like
this game,
that
I don't think
Mario 1.
like built on the story all that much. So I knocked it down a half point. I gave it a 3 though. Give it a solid 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. We can agree to disagree a little bit on the story. Like I said, I know I overgraded it. Come at me if you want in the comments. It's totally fine.
I'm sure they will.
We'll move on to something that I think most of us are going to agree on here, and that's going to be gameplay. I gave gameplay a 5 because I think as far as it goes for NES platformers, I don't think it gets better than this one. And it's tough. It's right before I think they kind of perfected platformers, because for me, like if I could pick like the two perfect platformers, it's Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country. I think those are my favorite two platformers, and I think that maybe this falls just short of it, but I can't give it a 4.5, so I'm giving it a 5.
Okay.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, gameplay 5.
you
Definitely 5. Even to this day, you play it and you pick it up and you won't put it down. It
Right.
works. It works, you know. So gameplay, yeah, definitely, I'd give that a 5.
What about you, Yaiser?
Okay.
Where you at? Yaiser's not a big platforming guy, so we're gonna see where he lands with this one, with one of the greatest platformers of all time.
Yeah. So I gave Super Mario Bros. 1. I think I gave it a 2 or something like that, right?
I could look it up.
Yeah. I think it was a 2. But this game is a lot better than that. It introduced a lot more like items that you can use, like the squirrel suit or tanuki suit, whatever you want to call it. The frog suit was fucking cool.
Yep.
All the different stuff. So it's better than that, but it's still just run and jump basically. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
I know you guys disagree. I know you guys disagree, but I upgraded. I gave it a 3.5 because this it was definitely an upgrade from 1 and even 2. 2 wasn't. I don't know. There's something about 2 I didn't really like.
Okay.
But
it's funny because I would think that you would like 2 more because it's not just run and jump, right?
I guess. I don't know. I
sometimes it's bend down, pick up, turn up, throw, turn up.
Yeah, that's basically what I remember. It was turn up.
Bend over, pick up. They added that mechanic.
Yeah. I was probably 6 last time I played number 2 though. So
do any of you guys, we could start with Mike, do you have a favorite power up in the game?
Oh, in Hammer Brothers suit. But
that's a good one.
The thing about all those suits is that they're too rare.
Yeah, like, they are.
I don't think I've ever gotten that.
Yeah, I think you get it in World 7, the Hype Maze Worlds. I believe you might get it a little sooner, but I can't recall. But you get it, and then you get hit, and you're like, no, then it's gone. You know, so I would have liked those suits to be more prominent. You know, especially the Hammer Brothers suit. It's like you're shooting fireballs, but just in an arc. You know, kind of like that. You're shooting projectiles, so you can hit enemies above you, and because he was wearing a helmet, you can duck and shield yourself from fireballs. So those were the only two, you know, things that it added to it. But it was funky. You know, he looked like a turtle. He had a shell on his back.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I wish they had those suits more prominent throughout the game, though.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite is probably the frog suit, and it's not even just for really any actual use. It's just when I was a kid, I loved turning Mario into a frog, and I just thought it was hilarious. So I guess just for nostalgia reasons, I think seeing him in that frog suit, it gets me kind of every time. What about you, Yaiser? Same thing?
Probably only because I never got the Hammer Bros suit. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've ever like beaten this game. I know me and my cousin Caitlin, shout out. When we were kids, we had like sleepovers. We would play like all night, but I don't think we ever got all that far in the game because we were like little. But
it's pretty cool. There are a couple other items that you can get that kind of that help you out on the overworld. Like there's the magic wand where I'm sorry, not the magic wand. There's like the hammer where you can break the rocks on the map screen. There's the music box that you can make like the Hammer Brothers fall asleep when they're on the map screen.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah, the magic whistle. What does the magic whistle do? It brings you to the warp world.
Yeah, like the Legend of Zelda on NES, when you blow it, it brings that whirlwind across the screen and picks you up and takes you to the warp zone.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then you can even get like an anchor which stops the airship from moving.
Yeah, that's right. We really don't use a lot of those, apart from the whistle, like the
No, you
music
don't.
box and the anchor. Like,
Yeah, you never really use them, but I think it is cool that they added those just to the actual, like, to the game, just for a little bit of variety, I suppose.
Yeah.
I had a couple, not a couple, maybe 1 or 2 times, which is a couple, where you fail on the airship, but then the airship's got to move to another spot in the map, and sometimes it will move behind the course that you didn't beat.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh crap, so you can use the cloud actually to skip that level.
Yep.
Or you can beat the course then, but that rarely happened. But I know that was their intention, like
Yeah.
you skip some courses and you fail on the airship, now it moved, and now you're screwed, but yeah, it was those map items I hardly ever used.
Mm-hmm. And you definitely don't use them either if you're just completing all the levels as you go.
Yeah, but it was nice that you had an inventory, I think that's the first time they whipped it out, where you can store items and use them on the map. So that was cool.
Yeah, it definitely added a little bit to gameplay, even if we don't use those things as much now. I do remember using them quite a bit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But also maybe that just comes with experience, that we don't need to use them now because we can just kind of fly through the game now. Let's move over to visuals.
For yourself, man.
Hey, you said you got to World 3, right?
I got to the third world, yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I couldn't figure out. That's one with the castle where there's a bunch of fucking doors, right? And the booze, and you I don't know. You go through the doors and it brings you back to the same fucking door. You gotta find the right door. I couldn't find the right door, I don't think.
I gave up. I think it's the 6th door. I think I have that burned in my brain.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
that'll happen though. That'll happen. Yeah, I was able to beat the game. I got to the last I got to Bowser essentially, and I kind of saved it there on my Switch so that I could have Yaiser, because I knew Yaiser wasn't going to be able to get to.
You just knew, huh?
The Bowser. I just knew in the amount of time that we had to play that you weren't going to be able to get there. You're not a platformer guy. It's fine, okay? We all have our weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved it there for him to try, and so he beat it right before we started recording the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I really like this boss fight at the end of the game, because I feel like it's different than the normal just jump on their head 3 times or whatever. Yeah. This one is a little bit more creative, where you have to stay in a spot and then Bowser's going to jump and kind of ground pound, I guess, that area, and then you have to move out of the way, and he has to try, you're basically trying to get him to fall through the brick bridge, right? And I just feel like it's a little bit more creative than the first game. I mean, the first game was, I guess you don't even jump on them. You
just gotta get by them.
Yeah,
right?
You just get past them and make them fall through the bridge that way.
Yeah, but it's very creative. Mario 3. I agree with you. I like the way you have to let him stomp his way down the pit. And in my game Super Mario 5, that's how I closed it off too. I closed it off in the Mario 3.
Nice.
With Bowser, breaking the bricks and stuff. I wanted to do a more epic finale and have him, break bricks, and then you go to another platform, and then he breaks that, and you go further down.
Wow.
But it didn't flow as much as well as I thought it would. So I scrapped that idea, and I didn't have any space anyway. But yeah, I put the Mario 3 Bowser in there. Because my choices were either Mario World or Mario 1. And your Bowser acts different in each style. So in the Mario World style, he's not in his clown car. And in Super Mario World, he's only in the clown car. He's not on his feet. So they have new Bowser sprites that they added in Mario Maker 2 for that. So he behaves differently in all the styles, and I wanted to go with the Mario 3 because that was my favorite Bowser fight.
Nice. Okay.
Cool, yeah.
I'm glad you agreed with me on that too, because I mean, obviously with somebody so experienced in the Mario games, I feel like that being the most creative of the Bowser fights. I wasn't sure that anybody was really going to agree with me on that one, but I do feel pretty strongly about that still. Although I do think the Mario 64, if we're counting that one, I mean, because that one's a 3D Mario game. It's not
Yeah.
really a 2D
Yeah,
platformer, but
yeah.
you know, that one's pretty fun where you get behind them and you toss them around. But yeah, the
I-
going through the brick bridge is pretty fun.
I had such a hard time with Bowser on Super Mario 64 for some reason. Couldn't time the throw, man. I don't know. I was
No,
so
I
bad
hear
at it.
you. I hear you, man. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't, man.
I know, it's fucking hard as shit.
I felt like whenever I lined it up perfectly, I was just too far away. I was on the other side of the platform and I just couldn't launch them that far.
You just land short. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a different game for a different time, I think. But let's head over into visuals. And Mike, if you want to start off with visuals, what'd you give it in that?
Mario 3, man, I can't give it anything less than a 5, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
I love the retro. I love pixels. I just love the way it looks. That and Mario Worlds, they're just, you know, maybe it hasn't aged. I think it has aged great when it comes to the way it looks. But yeah, I have to give it a 5. I can't live with myself. I give it less.
That seems fair.
What about you, Yaiser?
Yeah, I mean, as far as NES games go, like, I don't know what looks better. I don't know. I can't name one. I didn't have it at 5, but honestly, I think I'm gonna do it. I think you swung me, dude. I'm gonna hammer it in right with you there. Give
There
it
you
a
go.
5.
All right, we got 5s across the board here. Yeah, I absolutely love all the themes of all the stages as well. I mean, you start off with like the normal like overworld, and then you go into is it the desert that's second?
Yeah.
Desert that's second, and then the water. And my favorite world, actually, ever since I was a little kid, it's still my favorite now, and it's the Little Big World.
World 4.
Yeah, right. I mean, that one's perfect. I love it.
That's the world. Once you get to that, you're like, okay, this game is great. Like the big world, it was. I have one course in my game, Big Bad Island. You know, inspired by World 4 of Mario 3.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you have to throw in a little gigantic island, you know, somewhere in the game. It's Mario.
Yeah, I loved it. When I was a kid, I always called it Little Big World because Mario was little, everything else was big. So I just always called it Little Big World.
My course, it was originally called Gigantic Island, but the Lego Mario sets that just came out, they have one set called Big Bad Island, you know, because it has a couple of big characters. So I named it that after the Lego set. Figured it was a nice nod.
I was gonna ask you if the naming stages and naming courses and stuff was really hard, because to me that sounds like right off the bat like, oh yeah, I could name stages, like it'd be pretty easy. And then I feel like if I actually tried to do it, I'd be like, oh no, I'm awful at this.
It was fun. And I tried to stick with, you know, the usual like double letters. So it's like Magic Koopa Mansion, you know, Piranha Plant Plateau, sticking Goomba Garden, like sticking with those. But I didn't want to do every course like that because, you know, Nintendo throws a little things here and there. One course is called Kick the Koopa, which was originally called Koopa Kingdom, you know, K, sticking with the double letter thing. But Kick the Koopa was what I wanted you to do. Yeah. Kick the Koopa was what I wanted the player to do in the course. And I figured it was a good title to be like, yo, you got to kick the Koopa in this one. You know?
Yeah, Nintendo does do that a lot, though, especially with games like one that comes to mind immediately is Yoshi's Island, where they kind of they name kind of exactly what they expecting you to do in that level and kind of give you a hint of what's to come.
Touch fuzzy, get dizzy.
I was just thinking of that one exactly. Touch fuzzy, get dizzy. Exactly.
Sounds like a good night.
I'll show it to you. It's literally like an acid trip or something like that. It's like Yoshi's tripping on shrooms or something. It's insane.
It's a very weird course.
It's one of the weirdest courses I think Nintendo's ever put out, but it's
cool.
It's fun and it's a good time. All right, let's move over to sound here. I'm gonna kick it off. Mario 3 has one of the best soundtracks on the NES, maybe aside maybe just behind Castlevania in my opinion.
Mm.
But it's right up there. I got to give it a 5. It's a top 5, maybe top 3 soundtrack on the NES. Got to give it a 5. What about you, Yaiser?
Yeah, I mean, if I gave the first one a 5. I mean, maybe there's not as like iconic and like is super notable as like the World 1-1 on fucking Super Mario or the first one, yeah. But the songs are just probably even better, right?
Yeah, they're bangers, dude. They're all bops. I'll listen to them all the time. I was showing you some metal covers of them.
Yeah, dude.
The
awesome
metal cover of the Koopa Kid theme absolutely rips. If you want to check that out on YouTube. And so I mean, 5's. Yeah, it just makes sense, right? Mike, would you give it?
Yeah, I give it a 5.
Yeah, okay. We're all on the same page here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a legendary game we're talking about. This isn't just any old game. This is Super Mario Brothers 3, and 5. We're gonna give it a lot of 5s, is what I'm saying.
I can give it a 5 and not double take. Be like, oh, maybe a 4.5. Like, no, 5. Just throw it out there.
Right, and of course it has all of those classic Nintendo like sound effects as well as like jumping on the Koopas and just the classic jump sound and but really what kind of sets this game apart is its soundtrack.
100%.
Koji Kondo wrote our childhood and he's continuing to write bangers, so it's what he does. All right, let's try to finish this game up with aged. Yaiser, you want to kick it off? How do you feel that this game has aged?
I'm not gonna go 5. I know you guys probably are going to, but just because I'm not the platform type of guy, I want more something. You know what I mean? It leaves something to be desired for me. So I'll go. I mean, as far as an NES platformer goes, it's probably right up there. But I'm gonna give it 4. I'll give it 4.5 for you guys. I'll give it an extra.
Oh wow, just for us?
Just for you guys. I had it at 4. I'll give it 4.5 for you guys.
Wow, what a gift. What about you, Mike?
5. Yeah. I knew coming in here I'd give it 5s across the board except for story. So
I know you're a little harsher on the story than I expected, but it's totally a fair criticism because it doesn't really have a story at all. And we've done that with other games like Crazy Taxi and Columns, like games that don't have stories. Like you don't want to entirely like. You're not saying it's a bad game because it doesn't have a story, but it doesn't have a story really. So
I don't play Mario for the story. Like I know going in, the princess is kidnapped. Let's go.
Yeah. I actually gave Aged a 4.5, and my only tiny I guess my only little gripe with it, and it's not even really a gripe, it's just the fact that Super Mario World I feel like completely polished the just the controls. I feel like this feels a little bit more slippery, I guess, the controls, rather than like Super Mario World where the control just feels so tight. That's really the only thing I can say about it. And I guess that would kind of fall under gameplay a little bit, but it really doesn't get much better in my opinion. So I gave it a 4.5. Just to not give 5s in absolutely everything. But you know how that goes. I'm pretty sure I'm still the highest on this game out of everybody here, but we're gonna go through those final scores right now. I finished at a 4.7 out of a 5 total, so that's pretty high. That actually ties my highest score of all time, which has been Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
And you guys both came in at a 4.2.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys are right there, and as a team, we are at a 4.3.
Look at
solid.
That.
Yeah,
very solid.
Not too bad. I mean, it's an all-time classic, and I mean, I don't think we have to really, debate about this one. But would you recommend that somebody relives this game?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 100%.
If you've never played Mario 3 before, spoiler alert, go play it. It's pretty good. Mike, I'm assuming you would recommend it as well.
Oh yes. Would you consider it the best NES game?
Man, it's tough because it really just depends on what you're looking for in an NES game. I would say a vast majority of NES games are platformers. So I think as far as yeah, I probably would say it's the best NES game. I mean, if I were to make a top 10 list, it's probably my number one. It just
Okay.
that's me personally. I don't think Yaiser would have it as his number one.
Yeah, I don't know what else I would put over it though.
I mean, you
from
really enjoyed
NES.
Castlevania, but that's kind of also a
That was
platformer.
fun, but I also kind of hated it at the same time.
Yeah, but you're supposed to hate Castlevania
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
That's normal.
I guess so.
Yaiser, I think you'd actually be a pretty big fan of Metroid.
Yeah, I've never played any of those games.
Yeah, we'll get to them eventually. But I do think that you would probably enjoy that. There's also like Legend of Zelda.
I don't know if I ever played the first one.
No, but I mean, you loved.
I did. I absolutely love.
You love Link to the Past, so
Of course, yeah.
I'm not saying that the first one is Link to the Past exactly, but you know, it's a Zelda game. You'll probably like it.
Probably. Right.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out is another one.
Mm-hmm.
That one is, I think, is also deserving of the number one spot. But that one's also like it could be beaten pretty quickly if you're good at it. So it doesn't. I don't know that it really gives you the bang for your buck that like Mario Bros. 3 would necessarily. But
well,
but it's up there. I put Mario 3, Zelda 1, and Punch Out as my 1, 2, 3, and Metroid right there too.
Yeah.
But those are, when it comes to gameplay, those are my top 3 right there.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair assessment.
Yeah.
You also have games like Contra, like if you're not super into like platformers, like those run and gun type of games. So yeah, it really just depends on what genre of game you tend to gravitate towards. But for me, it's always kind of been platformers. So yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3 would definitely be my favorite NES game of all time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. All right, so Mike, this is the part of the show where we randomize what we're going to be playing for next week, and I like to vaguely describe the game to our guests to see if they can guess it based on those vague descriptions. So don't feel too much pressure because a lot of people get it wrong, and it's totally okay. But yeah, well, I'm going to hit that randomize button, and I will start to describe the game. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. That sounded like it took a lot longer again.
Yeah.
It's weird. A couple episodes ago, it seemed like it was not taking as long. This button's weird.
Yeah,
Anyway, all right. This is what we have next week. It's actually a Patreon episode. So this was recommended from Cody, our patron. So thanks, buddy. Yeah. This was published by Virgin Interactive, and it was released in 1993 for the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. It's a platformer. Any guesses? I'll give you one more clue. It is an advertising game. It's all about a specific brand.
Is it Spot 7-Up?
It's Cool Spot. Yep, you got it. It is Cool Spot.
What are you talking about?
I'll show you a picture.
Oh my god!
It's the dot from the 7-Up.
You know, the dot in between 7 and Up. It's that red dot. They made a game on that.
They made a game about the dot on the 7-Up.
Cool. Thanks, Cody.
Now, actually, I used to play this game all the time when I was a kid. It's a pretty fun game.
Okay, good.
Again, I like platformers.
I'm interested in the story on that game.
Yeah, me too. Because I currently don't know what it is. Yeah, so
Awesome.
that'll be pretty fun. So all right, so Mike, we also like to ask our guest to give us a recommendation to add to our master list. Now, we only play retro games, which we classify retro games as anything older than the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii generation, so PS2 and older. Do you have anything that you would suggest that we throw onto our list?
Ooh, there's so many.
I know. Feel free to
Hey, you
take your
guys
time.
Game Boy Advance, you check out Metroid Fusion or
Ooh, we can add
Metroid
that.
Zero Mission. Those are some. Zero Mission is a nice, remake of the original Metroid. Two completely different games, though.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Even though
So
it's a remake of the original, it's completely overhauled. Um, it's better, but it's a good game, a really good game.
so you would recommend that we don't play the original Metroid but play Zero Mission first?
I see. I love old school. I love those vague, like, what am I supposed to be doing? You're gonna get that from like NES Zelda and
Mhm.
Castlevania 2 and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So the original Metroid is like that. There's a lot of um, duplicate rooms,
Mhm.
so there's no map. So, it's a game that relies on backtracking and stuff, and rooms that look identical to one another. It can throw you for a loop and be like, wait, I was just here. Why is this? It's just a lot of copy and paste in that game.
Mhm.
But I like hitting those walls. I like getting stuck and being like, man, where do I go? So I'm not the type of gamer that gets stuck and runs to Google something. I get stuck. I'll spend hours there. I'll come back the next day. And in the end, it was something stupid and been like, man, I should have Googled that. but that's what I tend to do. I guess, growing up in that era, that's what we used to do and just grind at it and stuff. So I like it when games are vague, don't hold your hand. Um, but when it comes to the original Metroid, it can be cruel at times the way it's designed. So I would say check out the remake, but if you ever go back to the original, maybe you might not give it another shot after playing the remake. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how well I'll do with especially the original if it's not hold handy at all, and I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know why I said hold handy. I definitely meant hand holdy. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But either way, yeah, I don't know. I'm real bad at that kind of thing because when I get stuck, I get frustrated, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this, and then I end up moving on to another game in which
Yeah.
I also don't have time for. So
Yeah. It's hard to find the time, man. It's hard.
it is. It can be rough. But yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, Mike. If you want to just give everybody one last rundown of where they can find you, and if you want, like, drop your code too that they can download your game.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. That's the only place I'm at. I should probably create some of their accounts before Twitter goes kaput.
Yeah, I don't
But
know what's going on with that right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a
probably
whole
won't be
nother
around in a couple of
conversation.
months.
Who
But
knows?
you can find me at Metroid Mike 64 at Twitter, and my code. I think it's O OG9 XN4 FNF. I think. Did I just memorize it? I think so.
Maybe.
That's the code to play my game in Mario Maker. You can always Google my name or Super Mario Brothers 5, and it should pop up. It's out there and stuff.
Right. Plus
But
they can look at your tweet if it's not right, I guess, right?
yeah,
They can just
and
check out your tweet.
thanks for the invite, man. It was great talking with you guys. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Of course, man. Yeah. Anytime you want to come back, just let us know.
Cool.
And
Sounds
we're
good.
always looking to have people on. And if you guys want to support us, $5 on the Patreon, you're basically buying Yaiser a Yingling here. Show them what you got today. What's that one?
What's this?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta show them in front of the kid. That thing is huge, buddy.
It's a tall boy, dude. What do you mean?
It's a tall boy. It's like 8 beers in there.
Oh, no, dude. It's two.
Was that
two beers.
$5?
No, it wasn't.
How much was it?
It was less. $2.89.
All right, so you can buy Yaiser 2 of those giant Fat Boy beers or whatever they're called if you want to.
Okay, pretend you don't know what a tall boy is.
I mean, it's a big one, buddy. I thought tall boys were 18 ounces. That one's 24.
No, 24. 2 beers.
18 ounces or what?
I don't think that's
That's a thing, right?
No, they have 16 ounce.
Dude, hold up the
pint cans.
Oh, it's 16. Okay, that's what it is.
This is
I was
a
gonna say
regular.
because there's a 12 and there's a 24 ounce right there. There's definitely a size in between it. I don't know how we're talking about beers right now, but
Yeah,
anyway.
you're right.
Yeah, support us on the Patreon. It's $5. You can buy Yinglings for Yaiser, and we don't have to talk about beers anymore.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sounds great. And you can put your game onto the Patreon list, and we can get to it much faster than on our master list. So that is the benefit there. And Mike, thank you very much for joining us again. We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. And you guys can check us out next week when we are playing Cool Spot for either the Genesis or the Super Nintendo. What are you going to play it on, Yaiser?
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I think I'll play it on the Super Nintendo too. But
yeah.
All right. Thank you guys very much, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
See ya.